Canada, and Europe. As a dealer of not only our own line of Mayhill tires, we provide Mitos, Pro Puller, Parks Puller, Kaiser, Rio Wheels, and Midwest Wheels. Located in Reynolds, Indiana, Chad Mayhill and his crew work all year round to prove that they truly are a cut above the competition.
Looking for a refreshing change? Say goodbye to sluggish performance and reach for the one that won't slow you down.
That's Chris.
Experience the force of clean, pure oil coursing through your engine. No matter what you drive, Wix Filters is the clear choice. Here's to filtration that works as hard as you do. Wix Premium Filters. Performance starts here.
Like a seed planted in Ohio soil, Michael Connie knew that success takes time. It requires grit, hard work, and persistence. What began in a one-bay garage grew to revolutionize America's trailer industry. Today, Mac Trailer is a full-scale enterprise with 13 facilities and over 135 dealers across the nation. Mac Trailer supports you with a team of experts in the heart of a small-town hero. Start your legacy with Mac Trailer.
You've got questions? We've got answers. Need a pro you can trust? We have stores of that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Beck's, we stand up for things that matter most. Our faith, our independence, and helping farmers succeed. As the largest family-owned seed company in the U.S., we believe in the integrity of remaining an independent family-owned seed company. Since our founding in 1937, we have continued to produce quality products backed by a family of employees and dealers dedicated to serving American farmers. And that's something to be proud of. Beck's, founded in faith, forged in America. For more information, visit BecksHybrids.com.
CM Pulling Tires continues to produce hundreds of champions throughout the U.S., Canada, and Europe. As a dealer of not only our own line of Mayhill tires, we provide Mitos, Pro Puller, Parks Puller, Kaiser, Rio Wheels, and Midwest Wheels. Located in Reynolds, Indiana, Chad Mayhill and his crew work all year round to prove that they truly are a cut above the competition.
Looking for a refreshing change? Say goodbye to sluggish performance and reach for the one that won't slow you down.
That's Chris.
Experience the force of clean, pure oil coursing through your engine. No matter what you drive, Wix Filters is the clear choice. Here's to filtration that works as hard as you do. Wix Premium Filters. Performance starts here.
Like a seed planted in Ohio soil, Michael Connie knew that success takes time. It requires grit, hard work, and persistence. What began in a one-bay garage grew to revolutionize America's trailer industry. Today, Mac Trailer is a full-scale enterprise with 13 facilities and over 135 dealers across the nation. Mac Trailer supports you with a team of experts in the heart of a small-town hero. Start your legacy with Mac Trailer.
You've got questions? We've got answers. Need a pro you can trust? We have stores of that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Bex, we stand up for things that matter most. Our faith, our independence, and helping farmers succeed. As the largest family-owned seed company in the U.S., we believe in the integrity of remaining an independent family-owned seed company. Since our founding in 1937, we have continued to produce quality products backed by a family of employees and dealers dedicated to serving American farmers. And that's something to be proud of. Bex, founded in faith, forged in America. For more information, visit BexHybrids.com.
CM Pulling Tires continues to produce hundreds of champions throughout the U.S., Canada, and Europe. As a dealer of not only our own
for competition on twin tracks that are in absolutely fantastic shape. We've got a couple of things we need to do first before we get started. I'm going to ask Mr. Tony Kelly to come forward. He's our pastor and chaplain for an invocation. Tony?
Please allow me to pray. Father God, we thank you for this beautiful evening that you have blessed us with. We ask you to be with us and give us safety on the fairgrounds throughout this competition this evening. We ask for protection over all the track officials, all the competitors, and all the spectators. Father, we ask that you would give a special blessing to all the sponsors and laborers that have put forth so much effort to make this event possible. We thank you and praise you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Tony. We need to remember something, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the fact that freedom is not free. We live in the land of the free because this is the home of the brave. We gather tonight because of the actions of one group, our veterans. To our veterans, we say thank you. To the veterans who are newly home from deployment, welcome home. To the families with men and women still deployed around this country and around this great world, know that we wait with you and pray with you for their safe return. Let us never, ever forget, but let us forever remember. It is the veteran, not the preacher, that's given us the freedom of religion. The veteran, not the reporter, that's given us the freedom of the press. The veteran, not the poet, that's given us the freedom of speech. The veteran, not the campus organizer, that's given us the freedom to assemble as we have tonight. The veteran, not the politician, that's given us the right to vote. It is the veteran that salutes the flag. Sadly, it is the veteran that sleeps beneath it. All gave some, but some gave all. Ladies and gentlemen, Mandy Rushmiller and our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, and God bless America. Keith Horst, good to see you, sir. You ready to do something tonight?
Oh, I think so. Are you ready to go?
I think so. I think
All right.
you've had a big day, I know. All morning you worked. So
Oh,
kind of sit back and enjoy yourself this evening.
Oh, that ain't going to be any fun. Let's get with it.
Okay, we can
How
do
many
that.
fans are ready to go tractor pulling tonight? All right. Well, we're going to get ready to go here. And I know we had a big day here today, and we're going to bring some more action to you here tonight. 6 classes of competition here tonight.
I just got a couple of updates here, Keith, as we were looking ready to go with our classes. The hot farm class will be on the grandstand side first. We've already got one scratch in that class. And on the infield side, we'll start with our Pro Stock Diesel 4x4, the 3.0 class. That'll be our class here. We have 5 of them to run on the infield side of things. Oh, we've got tire problems on vehicles in the pit area. That's a tough one to deal with. That's what's causing our scratches. All right, let's see what we've got. Hot farm. Hot farm is 510 cubic inches, weighing 9,500 pounds with a 20-inch drawbar. Why is that important? Ooh, we'll talk about that as we make our way in. The turbocharger underneath the hood of a hot farm is 3 inches in, 3.5 inches out. On the inside of the infield side of the Pro Stock Diesel 4x4s, we're talking about a 3.0 class. 4x4 with a 460 cubic inch engine, smoothbore turbocharger weighing at 8,000 pounds. 26-inch drawbar, which is a little different than we're dealing with on the other side. 20-inch versus 26. The height of the drawbar will allow the front end to come up and float as it goes down the track. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get into this, and we'll talk about the deal of adjusting. You don't have to run the full drawbar height, but if you do, that's where you can pick that front end up a little further than you necessarily want to. So we'll find out. We're going to start grandstand side, and that'd be Carl Way out of West Salem, Ohio, with a Big Daddy in our first hot farm at 9,500 pounds, getting underway. 510 cubic inches. Ready to go down there as we look down to make sure that our flagmen agree. The greens are all in place. Mark Bingham in the on the mark sled. Set and ready to go, green on green as we turn them loose. The first one underway. Dealing with a test hook situation right there. He has an option. We'll find out what he wants to do as he get a distance.
Well, I tell you what, Alan, that was absolutely a picture-perfect pass here to start the night off. He picked that front end up there about 100-foot mark, and he carried it all the way down here about 250, and he set it down here at the other end. And it'll be an excellent run to turn down. We'll see what he does.
337.5, Keith. 337.5. If that were your hook, Keith Horst, would you take it?
I would definitely seriously consider that. That'd be definitely a hard call to make, turn it down to 337, but I'm sure as the class goes on, I'm sure there's going to be some further distances. But if you felt like you've made an absolute perfect run and you couldn't change anything more with that run, it'd be hard-pressed to turn it down.
Carl says, I like what I saw, 337.5. I will take that. We're set and ready to go. We are running a floating finish, too. Now, Keith, that is important to a lot of these competitors because it's one run and done. We don't have to redo that motor. We don't have to get it overly hot. We can run it one time, take it back, and put it in the vehicle. It's so important, and make sure that we have the sled setting right. We've got a couple of good operators out here on the track, so I don't expect there to be any problem. But floating finish, all classes tonight. Infield side, Pro Stock Diesel 4x4, 8,000 pounds, 26-inch drawbar. The reason I bring that up is this particular class, as well as the five other we'll look at a little bit later as far as the two-wheel drives are concerned. That drawbar is important. When you're dealing with a drawbar at 26 inches in the air and you start down the track, your first 25 or 30 feet, that vehicle will pull down level. That's what you want. If it gets any further than that, you've got too much weight that you're dealing with as far as a counterbalance on the front end. Counterbalance on the front end can weigh as much as 2,000 pounds in each one of these classes that does carry a front end weight box. This is Eric Woodman out of Republic, Ohio, in the one called Big Red, the first of our 3-0 class here on the infield tonight. He is also your test hook. We'll find out what he wants to do, how he gets along. Dead center start in the middle of the track. Bounces it in right there at the very end. .355 and 45 for Eric. 3.55 and 4.5 for Eric Woodman. Back to Hot Farm. Scott Miller out of Spencerville, Ohio with the Dragline Express.
Well, as Scott Miller made his run down the track here, he had a lot of fluid coming out of the bottom. Not sure what that's from, but he still made an excellent pass here, and he's going to fall a little bit short of that lead mark.
And a little bit is exactly right, Keith. 3:34 and 84. 3:34 and 84 cents to the right for Scott, so he's just about 3 feet behind. Got the word from infield track. Eric Woodman says, I like that 355. I will take it. There are 5 in the class. Do we make a change on the sled? I don't think so. I think we leave things alone and go ahead. 3.55 and 45 for Eric Woodman, and he likes it and will keep it.
Well, Alan, tonight in our 3.0 diesel trucks, you're going to have 3 Widman trucks coming at you here. And the last few weeks, I've been able to announce some events here in the Region 2 area, and they've definitely been on a tear, this entire Widman family with the 3.0 diesel trucks, and definitely a good way to start the class off with the 3.0 diesels here tonight.
All 3 are tough running competitors. You're exactly right, Keith, and it's fun to watch, and you know that darn good and well they're talking to each other every pass down the track. So, I mean, when Eric got done, he's going to pass on what he learned to the next 2, going, okay, here's what you do and don't want to do. Jake's up next, and then Shawn Michaels is going to run in between them, and then Bob's going to be back in the number 4 spot. So we'll find out if that information gets passed on. Take your time. Wind that charger up. Take Woodman. Under pressure. Five blocks in the sled, 10,000 pounds. It's moving forward on Joe Singer's orange sled. Add that to the weight of the sled. Jake's distance at 340, 365, 340 with a 365 to the right for Jake. So Eric's out in front. If he passed any information on to Jake, we didn't follow it specifically. Remember, we're running a floating finish in all classes tonight, so run as far as you can, and in the end run, hope that's going to be good enough. We go back to grandstand side now. Darren Vollmer out of Brookville, Indiana, with one called I Got This.
Well, Darren Bomber, he pulled here this afternoon. He should have a good read on the track of what it's going to take to get down here. So we'll see what he can do with the tractor known I Got This.
And I think it speaks for itself. Nice pass down the track. Front end of the air about 10, maybe 12 inches off of the ground and stayed there. Didn't get wild and crazy. Didn't need to. And right there we have a new leader with a 3:39, 4:55 for Darren. He takes over first place, not by much, but we don't have to in this ball game. A game of inches that we play tonight. One run and done with a floating finish on both tracks. 3:39, 4:55 for Darren.
Well, this afternoon here in our Darke County Hot Farm class, we had a class of 18 here, and it was all stacked right in that 320 to 330 range here in that class here, the Hot Farms that we had. So I expect we're going to have some very close, tight distances here tonight in our Hot Farm.
Our Region 2 competitors coming out of Indiana and Ohio, Keith, you're exactly right. They know what they need to do here on this track in Darke County. No problem at all. Jim Stewart is up next out of Rushville with the Gold Digging Deer. And we'll see how he gets along. Backing in on the infield side, Shawn Michelson out of Jamestown with the SCM diesel-powered machine. All of our winners tonight, our first place in each class, will go front center in front of the grandstand. Visit with Mr. Horst over there. We have the opportunity to find out a little bit about our winners how they felt this track was as we get ready to start whatever class is following. But we'll take our number one class out of each class and have the opportunity to talk with Keith. A lot of concentration on Sean's face as he went by. He was looking at that track. I'm going to make this work. And we'll find out. Shawn Michelson out of Jamestown, Ohio. Good pass. .322.055 for Sean. So he came up a little bit short despite all of his concentration there as he came down through there. 322. So he had a little bit of a issue with coolant leakage, but, you know, I don't know. So Eric Widman still holds the lead with a 355 and a change. Robert Widman now, the last one, as Keith brought up. This will be the last of the three Widman entries in our 3-0 class out here tonight. Mike Burton will wrap up the class, so we have two left to run in the four-wheel drive 3-0 class. Jim Stewart on the line down there, set and ready to go with the Gold Digging Deer out of Rushville, Indiana. Roll up tight, the green light comes on for Mark Bingham. That tells the flagman that the sled is set for operation. That's why the signals are flags and lights. And at this point in time, Jim Stewart is ready to go with the Gold Digging Deer out of Rushville, Indiana. Jim Stewart laying down a great pass. Started to drift to the right-hand side a little bit more than anybody else has so far. But a nice pass for it.
Well, over here on this side of the track is where Jim Stewart finished. That's where most of our hot farms this afternoon were ending up. They were starting about in the center of the track, which is the option of each puller where they want to spot that sled at the starting line. As you see at the starting line, we've got an orange cone down there, and that puller can put the sled and mark that with the orange cone. The sled will go back to that. And we're starting about in the center, and we're finishing on the right-hand side down here at the finish end.
It's a dangerous game there they try to play sometimes, Keith, and when they get over next to that right-hand line. And Jim did real well, 336 and 88, which gives him a number 3 spot right now. Behind Darren Bummer with a 339 and Carl Way with a 337, and then Jim with a 336. So you're right. We're going to put them right back in within inches of each other as we make our. And I notice all the Widmans have started about the same place, left of center on the starting line. As Keith brought up, you can place that cone any place you want to. It's your choice of where you want to start that vehicle down the track. Robert leans over to the left-hand side, says, I kind of like what I see here. We'll find out if it's going to pay off for him. Robert Widman, Republic, Ohio's based Boosted. Little bit of bounce right there at the very, very end, and as it starts to pull, it starts to dig and starts to unload. That starts it to hop, and that's not something you want to have a lot of, even at the very end. 329, 595. 329 with a 595. Puts him in number 3 spot right now, and 1 left to go, and that's Mike Burton out of New Philadelphia, Ohio, with the Backwoods Evolution. Be the last of our 3-0s to run. But we go back grandstand side. Tony Weber out of Westport, Indiana, with the 50 Shades of Red. Lights on the sled, very important. Green telling the flagman that they are ready from the sled operator standpoint, that means the chain has been tugged up tight, because when that happens, they'll bump the sled just enough, gets the attention, making sure that we're tight and ready to go. At that point in time, he turns the green lights on, and you watch. Our starting line flagman will turn and look to the finish line. If they get an agreement down there that everything is in operational shape for the entire length of the track, they'll give it 2 green flags, and we're underway. And that's what we're looking for right here. Tony Weber with 50 Shades of Red has not turned the greens on yet because he hasn't rolled up tight on the sled. Starting line flagman giving us a little bit, or a lineup flagman down there, getting things lined up. Green is on the sled. That's what we were looking for. And again, they check. Everything is ready. 50 Shades of Red. You could see that about 240 feet. It started to pull down, and it was not going to get any better. You could kind of sense that the engine was doing all it could. We had a good bite on the track, and maybe that was the issue we were dealing with, but not going to come up in the winning side of things.
That's right, Alan. This track is going to take horsepower tonight. You're not going to be running any big or fast gears, or proud gears, you might say. So you better have it in the right gear to get on this track down tonight, because it's going to take a lot of horsepower.
Exactly right, Keith. 310 and 733. 310733 for Tony. Infield side, we bring our last vehicle to the line. Mike Burton with the Backwoods Evolution out of New Philadelphia, Ohio. Region 2 competition here at the Great Darke County Fair. Good to have everybody with us tonight. Grandstand is filling nicely. We still have plenty of places. Call your neighbors and tell them that we're just getting a good start. Have them come on down and enjoy the Great Darke County Fair. We have competition for everyone tonight, because we have modifieds, we have light pros, we have 2-wheel drives, hot farms, etc. We got a lot of vehicles yet to run tonight, as our last of our 3-0 diesel class lines up on the infield side. Mike Burton chasing 3:55 the distance. Handled that very well. We saw no bounce at the very, very end of that competition run. Nicely done. Mix up our top 5. Well, we've only got 5, but we'll rearrange our placing here in this class.
I was back at the end of the trailer, Alan, when Mike Burton entered this evening, and I think this might be his first pass of the year. He'd been waiting on parts, didn't think he was going to get the truck ready to go for this year, but he was able to make it here to the Great Darke County Fair, and they laid out a very nice pass. Ryan Lee Weinmiller out of Lancaster, Ohio, with one called Hammered.
and he tried it, and it didn't hammer like he thought it should. Got to come up a little bit short of that 3:39 distance of Darren Bomer's.
Well, incidentally, Alan, this tractor was formerly from Darke County. This tractor was formerly owned by Jerry and Jason Laux. And I know they had it up for sale, and I see we've got a new owner in the seat and laid down a very nice pass here tonight.
300 with a 9.55 to the right for Ryan. 300, 9.55. As we reweight the wagon for our two-wheel drive down there, we'll be putting a little more weight in. Our class of 10 two-wheel drives at 6,200 pounds. You change the weight of the class, you need to change a little bit of the weight on the sled. Give it a little different competition and deal with that. So we've got at least one and maybe as many as 3 blocks. We'll find out as they come past. We'll see how many Joe's got in the sled as he comes past.
And again, we need Eric Widman down here in front of the grandstand on the concrete pad. Eric Widman, you need you and your vehicle down here in front of the grandstand on the concrete pad, please.
Also, while we're waiting the sled, I'd like to thank some of the NTPA sponsors this year. One of the head ones, Beck Seeds. I'd like to thank you guys. Also, Wix Filters, big contributions. Hot Shot Secrets, also big contributor. Mac, I'd like to thank Mac Trailer, O'Reilly's. Also, Simpico, the U.S. Army, and Cowtails, Midas. I'd like to thank all you guys, the major sponsors this year of the NTPA.
We wait for Eric Widman to come down. We look to the grandstand side of things. Kent Way out of West Salem, Ohio with one called Little Bro, ready to make things happen over there as we approach the halfway point of our hot farm class on that tide. A class of 16 in the competition. 339.455 leads the class right now. That is Darren Bomer out of Brookville with one called I Got This, and kind of lives up to its name tonight. It did. He got down to the end of the track and said, I got this. Not a problem. So we'll see what happens. Kent Way, West Salem, Ohio. Little Bro gets ready to turn the greens on all the way around. Green on the sled, green on the track, so it's green on green. It's already yours, Kent. You saw that front end come up, and when it came up and he bumped the back onto the skid bars, the front end came back down. When it hit the ground, it literally unloads the rear tires just a little bit, and you can watch it start to fall off as far as distance is concerned. That's what happened to Kent. .321, 6:15, 3:21 with a 6:15 for Kent Way with the Little Bro.
Also, I'd like to thank a couple other sponsors for their sponsorship. Case International and Enderley Injection, also big sponsors of the NTPA Association. Thank you very much. Also, we'd like to thank Selecty Farms for doing all this track work. The Selecty family out here all day long. And like I said, they don't only just work here, they work for the NTPA at other polls as well. Thank you very much to the Selecty family and their family out there that's working and the workers they always take with them. Always a good track when it's a Selecty track. All yours, Keith.
All right, down here in front of the grandstands, we've got the winner of our 3.0 Pro Stock 3.0 diesel truck class here tonight, Eric Widman from Republic, Ohio with Big Red. Eric, first hook in the class here tonight, made an excellent pass. I've been to a few events here recently where you guys have really done very well with these trucks, and I know you guys done a lot of work behind the scenes at home. Your thoughts tonight on your win?
I think test hook helped me tonight. Made a good pass, and like I say, we had a good group of guys tonight. It's a group effort. Everybody helped to get here. Top 4 trucks left our driveway together tonight, so it was a good night for the Jeb trucks.
Oh, definitely. And anybody else you want to thank here tonight?
I got to thank my mom and dad. Without my mom and dad, this wouldn't happen. My wife, she's at home, and the girls. So my Uncle Ron, he takes all the videos and puts them on the internet for us. So family effort, group effort. Glad to be here.
Well, on behalf of the Darke County Tractor Pullers and the Great Darke County Fair, we want to congratulate you again on your win here tonight, and we certainly hope that you'll come back in the future.
Yep, we'll be back next year.
All right, thank you very much. Eric Widman, your winner here tonight in the 3.0 diesel truck class. Let's give him a round of applause.
Two-wheel drive as we got underway with Zachary Egbert coming down to Botkins, Ohio. Turned to 343.585, but also a little over the left-hand line. Now, that's the nice thing about being a test hook. It does not disqualify him. He does think he's going to go back. He's going to run clear to the back and see what happens. So he'll drop to the bottom of the class, so we will see Zach at the very, very end. So Chase Richardson will be up next. We haven't really set the class yet, but we'll find out very, very soon how we get along. But he had a nice pass going, but I could watch him as he came past about 260, 270. He was starting to drift a little harder to the left, and he was doing the best he could do. Grandstand side of things, Keith, we're back to Connor Carrington out of Georgetown, Ohio, with one called Say When. We're still chasing 339, 455 of Darren Bomer has the lead right now in the hot farm class on the grandstand side. Beautiful evening of competition, and Keith, you said it right. They were a tough class this afternoon. They're going to be a tough class tonight.
Well, Connor Carrington comes here this evening. He was your winner here this afternoon in our hot farm class. So he's looking to make it a double up here this evening, and we'll see what he can do. But this is a good run in International. Again, your winner here this afternoon.
When you walk that close to the white line, it can cause problems. He knew what he was doing. We'll find out if he did it right. We do need a hook on the track on Connor. Up running distance, 341.25. .341 with the DQ.
Yeah, Alan, I got a bird's eye view of that. He come down here right at the 300-foot mark, and he just touched that white line down here. A tough break for Connor Carrington here tonight.
Made a slight change of the infield sled here for the two-wheel drive, so Chase Richardson will be your test hook. He will be your test pull in this class. So with the weight change being made in two-wheel drive, they looked at the distance at 343 and they said, was he going to make it a little further down the track? They said, maybe. All right, we need to change things. We need to change gears in the sled. We're going to change the speed with which the box moves forward. Wonderful things we can do. Wonderful way to adjust the sled. You don't have to change a lot of weight. Or we can change weights. Or, in this case, they did both. They changed the speed that it moves forward, and they're starting the box in a different position. So it will top out at a different point on the track. Get us a little further down the track if we can. So that 343.585 with the DQ was a good indication of what we need to do here in our two-wheel drive class.
Well, Chase Richardson comes in here to Greenville tonight, normally out on our Grand National Circuit, but he comes here to Greenville tonight, just coming off the weekend at Bowling Green. And this truck actually belonging to Brian McDonald out of Kennedyville, Maryland. And Chase Richardson has been driving this vehicle all summer long and been doing a very good job with this machine. Suffering and Insanity. Let's see what he can do.
You could see the difference. You could see the difference right there. Here's your test. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, Alan, this is just going to be an absolutely perfect two-wheel drive track class here tonight. This track is just in perfect condition for this class. As you can see, he just hung that front end right there and probably never touched a brake. And that's when they're fun to drive, when you can just go right from A to B and never have to touch a brake and just sit there and go for a ride.
Chase's distance at 368, the nickel to the right. 368 with an 05 says, yes, I like it, I'll keep it. Here again, floating finish in this class, and like everybody else. 368 for Chase Richardson. Grandstand side, Todd Cameron, Noblesville, Indiana, the Fuss and Fight. Saw this one run in Illinois at the State Fair a week ago. And listen, I'll tell you, tough contender coming out of Noblesville with this one. Fuss and Fight out of Noblesville. Laid down a beautiful pass there.
Well, Todd Cameron pulled here this afternoon. He was up towards the top of the results sheet. And I'd say we're going to have ourselves almost a new leader here if it's not going to be close. But we are moving a leader cone.
And he takes over the lead right there, Keith, with a 343.765. 343.765. Bumps Darren back to the number 2 spot with that 339. Tina Kane comes on board with the Dark Horse on the infield track. Out of Eaton. As I sit down here and look to my left, I see the signpost that says Black Sheep Lane. And I turn to my right and I see the members of Dwayne's family sitting here. Good to have you here tonight. Thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to work with that man. I really, truly miss that guy. Out of Eaton, Ohio comes Tina Kane, the Dark Horse two-wheel drive competitor. 368 is on the board from Chase Richardson, and we have a class of 10. This will be an interesting class to see how they stack up at the very end. We still have some sunshine on various parts of the track. That will change the way the track operates, but everybody will have the opportunity to run. As the shade comes over, it starts to cool things off, allows that moisture to come up from underneath. We'll see how Tina gets along down there. She's operating in the sunshine to start with. The Dark Horse out of Eaton, Ohio. Green on green. Waiting for the flags to come. Waiting for the top end of the racetrack to clear. Support vehicle out of the road. We will check and make sure. One looking at the other. Steve says, I agree. Wayne says, turn him loose. Turn her loose. Here we go. Tina Kane. Nicely done. Nicely done, Tina.
Yeah, Alan, she definitely made that a nice pass, but going to fall a little bit short here tonight at Chase Richardson with the run he laid down at 368. So we'll see where her distance comes in at.
343, 965 for Tina. 343 with a 965 to the right. Nice pass. Grandstand side, Chris James out of Ada, Ohio with a buck robber. Seen this one run a couple of times this summer. Tough running competitor here in Hot Farm. The buck robber, we've got, we've got All Beef, we've got the Buck and Deer, we've got Endless, Wild Child Express, and Daddy's Money. Will wrap up our Hot Fun class here in just a bit. But this is the buck robber of Chris James. Backing into the sled. Now we make two connections on the backside of each one of our competition vehicles. We hook up the kill switch wire. That's a safety wire. Something happens, the foot comes off the clutch, whatever. That vehicle gets away from the sled, we can shut it off. Then we drop the big pulling hook in place, and then we roll up tight, and once it is tight, we turn the green on the sled, as he's done right there, and the flagman will check with each other, both ends of the track. As soon as they agree, we'll turn him loose. Spools that up. Hot Farm. Started to drift toward that right-hand line as well, right in front of you, Keith. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to put your toe on the line.
He was on the brake hard. You could tell it pulled that motor down. He could not stay up on top of the turbocharger as he come over here on this right-hand side. He was pushing on that left brake, and it definitely cost him down here on the big end.
$321 and 14 cents to the right. 221 with a 1-4 to the right for Chris James. Yeah, you're right. He was on a brake awfully hard to bring that back. It worked, but it took it away from him as far as distance is concerned.
Yeah, he only kept it in by a few inches, but it was in bounds.
Infield side we go again. Kerry Unger, the overtime 2, also out of Eaton, Ohio. I'm noticing a trend on the infield track. We're starting most of them left of center as far as the starting position is concerned. Not a big deal, except when is somebody going to make a big change and move to one side or the other completely and find out what is there? I don't know. Kerry Unger is following pattern left of center on the infield track with one called the overtime 2. from left of center. He finished in the center. So he kind of drifted right. Didn't have to get on a brake that way. To the front end of the air, you do not have any steering available. It all has to be brake and making it work. Kerry Younger's distance at 3:43.962. Tina Kane's distance, 3:43.965. So the difference was 0.003 short of Tina's distance. Interesting scenario. Doesn't happen very often. That close together, back-to-back runs.
Well, Alan, you know, Kerry Younger, he got his start right here at the Darke County Tractor Pullers, pulling in our auto gas truck class, and has progressed into the two-wheel drive class, and he's been out on the Grand National Circuit now for the last couple of years and doing a very fine job.
Exactly right. It's fun to watch when they come down, and you've watched them take very special care where they want to start at the starting line, and then all of a sudden they go either cross-track or finish completely different position. You go, what did they see? What happened there? Well, you mentioned it. You didn't have to get on a brake. Just let it go if it doesn't get out of hand. Back to the infield track grandstand. All beef out of Minster, Ohio, Tyler Fleck. Also a pretty good shot right down the center of the track. Had it figured out, but he left the line, front end in the air, had it aimed right. And if you got it started down the track right and you've got even bite on the tires, it will go there.
Well, the Flecks have been a long-time pullers, and it goes back to the dads that started this all, and now it's on to the boys here as they've been pulling in this hot farm class down the last few years. And again, they pulled here this afternoon and finished just outside of top 5.
Only 4 left to run with a 3:23.205 for Tyler. We look for Phil Wilbur, Brian Carrington, Adam Smith, and Joseph Bomer. Darren had the lead for a while. He's now in second place behind Todd Cameron. So it'll be interesting to see how these last 4 finish up. They could any one of the 4 of them could change the finish order big time. Matt Seitz is due up next, the two-wheel drive of the infield. Our hot farm class weighing, of course, 9,500 pounds. Single turbocharger underneath the hood. 3-inch by 3x5. 3 by 3.5 on the turbocharger. In other words, the exhaust side, which is what puts the power in the motor. Turbocharger, nothing more than an exhaust-driven air compressor. You've got 3.5 inches on the outside of that charger powering your power plant. So 3 inches in, 3.5 out, and 9,500 pounds makes it our hot farm class with a 510 cubic inch engine. All right, Matt Seitz, the Buckeye Hooker 2 out of Spencerville, Ohio, backs in.
Well, Matt Seitz comes in here to the Darke County Fair, normally a Region 2 runner, and this truck formerly owned by Jeff Schaefer, the win-loser draw machine right here. And Matt Seitz acquired this truck several years ago and been doing a very fine job with this truck.
Drifted toward the center line, but never crossed it. Nicely done. Nicely done. Matt Seitz, the Buckeye Hooker 2. 3:35:51, 3:35 with a 5-1. Nice pass from Matt Seitz. Saw this one run. Out of Tipton, Indiana, the Buccaneers. So I run last weekend, as a matter of fact. Competition in Tipton. Phil Wilbur, the Buccaneer, makes his way over here to the Great Darke County Fair. And I've noticed something, Keith, on your track, they are staying center. They're not moving left or right as far as positioning, at least in this class so far. They haven't really played that game.
Now, it's what's called building a road. And, you know, we're all starting at the same spot at the starting line, but we're finishing in about the same area down here to finish in. But who knows? If the class ain't over yet, somebody might throw out a Hail Mary and go down the left-hand side. It remains to be seen.
Not that you ever did anything like that either, right?
Well, I've seen all kinds of tricks in the book, right? So, I mean, if you got nothing to lose, why not, right?
There's something to be said for that. You're exactly right. Phil Wilbur, Tipton, Indiana's Buccaneer. Oh, you heard that charger come down. When you fall underneath the charger, you're done really quickly. Phil Wilbur for the Buccaneer. .315, 365, 315, 365 with 3 left to go in the hot farm class. .315 with a 365. Little bit of a story to tell of our next two-wheel drive. You recognize the vehicle. You won't recognize the name of the guy driving it. The Whippersnapper 2, campaigned by Tom Eisman forever, it seemed like. He decided, no, grandson decided, Grandpa, I want to drive that vehicle. He says, okay, when you're old enough. Well, R.L. Eisman turned 18 today. Guess what his birthday present is? Grandpa says, here's the keys. Let's make it happen. Where else a good dirt track and a great county fair and show you what a birthday present looks like. So R.L. Wiseman is driving the Whippersnapper 2 out of Tipton, Indiana. Grandpa is very proud of this. We may see another generation, Keith. We may see another generation right here.
Well, he's got a good teacher out in front. Tom Eisman, a longtime puller, started out in the mini rod class and moved into two-wheel drive class probably about 10 years ago or so. And definitely very competitive on a Region 2 circuit with this Ford body truck here as he gets ready to make his run. And his first run, what better way to start it out with on your birthday, turning 18 here at the Great Darke County Fair, making your first pass.
He looks confident. Well, happy birthday, RL. Job well done. Rookie pass. I think he deserves a round of applause. You betcha. Tom, that wasn't bad, was it? $3.16 and 8 cents to the right. 316 with a 0.8. Good job. We'll see that boy again. I know. As soon as I said something about starting position on your track, Keith, guess what? They're starting to move a little bit on us. I figured that happened, yeah. Brian Carrington, the Endless. Started to drift to the right, and he was on a left brake pretty hard, but didn't really seem to take the momentum away from him, as I thought he might. But a nice pass there. Brian Carrington, the Endless, out of Georgetown, Ohio. .341, 293. 341, 293. Good enough for a number 2 spot, as a matter of fact. 341 is. Moves Darren Bomer back down into number 3 now with a 339. Still leading the class. Todd Cameron with a 343. 765. Powerful run. Has not been equaled yet. No stranger to the dirt tracks in Darke County. Jesse Petro, Camden, Ohio's P5.
Well, I'd say we're going to have ourselves an onslaught and an attack on the lead here on our two-wheel drive side as Jesse Petro comes in here with a P5 entry. Your leader still continues to be Chase Richardson at 368. So we'll see if Jesse can put it out there with the P5 machine.
Brought it down next to the left-hand line, but Jess has got it figured out. He knows what's going on, especially that vehicle he's driven so many years. Jesse now in number 2. Number 3 is Tina Kane. Number 4 is Carrie Unger. Remember, 3 and 4 are separated by .003 in a floating finish situation. Doesn't happen very often. 2 left to go at a hot farm, Keith, right there in front of you. Ashland, Ohio's Wild Child Express and Daddy's Money of Joseph Bummer, and we'll get a winner down to see you before our two-wheel drive, I think, but we'll see what happens. Smith with the Wild Child Express. Ashland, Ohio-based machine. .328 and 00 to the right. .328 even for Adam Smith. First place is still the .343 of Todd Cameron. One left to go in our hot farm. 3 left to go in our two-wheel drive. A big thanks to Hot Shot Secrets. Big thanks also to Beck's Hybrids, founded in faith and forged in America. O'Reilly Auto Parts and Vitas Tires. And don't forget the Enderley competition, which comes up the second Saturday after Labor Day, 17th this year, in Champaign County, Urbana, Ohio. The best of the best. And we have the regional competition the afternoon for Enderley and the Grand Nationals on the evening session. Love to see you in Urbana, Ohio, the 17th of September for the Enderley pull-off, the American finish line that everybody is headed for all year long. Thanks also to Senpico Lubricants, Vitas Tires, as well as Mack Trailers. Mack Trailers is built in Alliance, Ohio. If you have a trailer that you're looking for and you can't find one, call them, give them a call, and say, here's what I need in a trailer. I'll almost bet you that Mack Trailer can come up with a solution for you to solve any of your trucking needs. So give them a call. We want to say thanks to all of our sponsors across the country. O'Reilly Auto Parts jumping in. Senpico also. Senpico has been with NTPA the longest of any sponsor, and they are very proud of that fact as well. Have the opportunity to visit with the top brass every once in a while from Senpico, and they're going strong and still going to stay with us. So, all right, we look at the Mad Max out of West Alexandria, Ohio. Kempsini in the driver's seat, set and ready to go. Saw that one come apart. I'm not real sure what lit on the track, but things came apart very, very quickly at the very, very end with the Mad Max.
Well, she started angling to the left down there to finish into the track, Alan, and she was concerned about being able to keep it in bounds and had to get out of the throttle. And I'm sure they were on the brake awful hard, and hopefully she's all right in the cab of that truck.
It took quite a ride right there at the very end. She kind of looked around to see what came off, and they're out picking off parts and pieces. 348, 335, 348, 335. Guess what? That's a number 2 finish right now.
Well, as you can see on the replay, she was still moving. That truck had a lot left in it there, but had to get out of the throttle from going out of bounds here tonight.
So 348, 335 for a third place finish right now behind Chase Richardson and Jesse Petro. Jess with a 353, Kim in there, 348. Took quite a shakeup. Neck brace is off. You can tell there's movement in the cab, so she knows she's all right. We checked to make sure that after the ride that she took right there at the very, very end, the last 4 feet of that. Watch that on the, okay. The last hot farm headed to the track right now. Joseph Bomer, Brookville, Indiana. Daddy's Money. Todd Cameron owns the first place. Brian Carrington sits in 2. Darren Bomer in 3. That last 10 feet is all power. Mark throws the anchor out. You've got a little bit of time before that chain pulls tight and you're done. But he did. He got the job done. Joseph Bummer. .333, 8:05. 3:33, 8:05. Currently in the number 7 spot. So we need Todd Cameron to see you, it looks like, Keith. The fuss and fight out in Noblesville. That's the way I've got it.
So yes, we need Todd Cameron down here in front of the grandstand on the concrete pad. Todd Cameron, we need you and your vehicle down here in front of the grandstand, please, for the winner's interview.
Got a couple of two-wheel drives to run, and then we're going to double up on you, Keith. We're going to send you the winner from Hot Farm and the winner from two-wheel drive, and you could just take a good time to do that. We got to reweight the wagons anyway, so that'll work out real well. We'll have the Hot Farm and our two-wheel drive winning presentation over with Keith here in just a minute. We got 2 yet to run, 3 yet to run in the two-wheel drive. Forgot about Zach that wants to come back. Brandon Benton, he looked at, he started right down the center of the track, never varied. Out of Batavia, Ohio with one called 2, please. It'll work out real well. Down there he finishes, he's going to mess up our placing.
Well, Brandon Benton here tonight with a two-wheel drive 2, please. Probably a little overgeared here for this track tonight. As you could tell, it really got under pulled the motor down here at the end of that run there for him here tonight, but still a good pass.
So Todd Cameron's going to be your first place in front of the grandstand from our Hot Farm, and we've got 2 more to run in the two-wheel, and then we'll send the first place from the two-wheel also to the grandstand side of things as we reweight the wagon for our next 2 classes. The modifieds and the light pros. It'll take a little time to reweight the wagon, give everybody a chance to stand up maybe and find out who you've been sitting next to. They've been sitting there with their knees in your back all night. You want to find out who they are, so that gives you the opportunity. Get a bite to eat. Infield has food available, and I have never, and I can say this truthfully, I have never seen the quantity of food that's available at the Darke County Fair in the Midway. If you can't find it, it ain't here. It's just that simple.
You're right, Alan. There is definitely a wide variety. So I've been here a number of years. And I pretty well know where I'd like to go when I come to the Darke County Fair.
You can just start at one end and graze your way through the fairgrounds. By the time you get to the end, if you're hungry, it's your fault, not anybody else's. We can wait on that presentation until we run 2 more, Keith, if you want to, or you can do it now. It becomes your call, but we've got 2 to run in the 2-wheel drives. Two-wheel drive, Chad Mayhill comes out of Reynolds, Indiana, on board Old Blue. You've seen the advertising around, says CM Pulling Tires. That's this guy. Chad Mayhill out of Reynolds. The Old Blue. Tough running competitor. Knows how to put it down the track. Chad Mayhill at 345, 125, 345, 125. Number 4 finish for Chad.
All right, down here front and center of the grandstand, we've got our winner of our hot farm class here tonight, Todd Cameron from Noblesville, Indiana, with a fuss and fight. And a class of 16 tractors here tonight. I know you pulled here this afternoon, so you pretty good read on the track for what it took here to win tonight. Your thoughts on your pull here tonight?
I'd repeat it, but there's a lot of tough competition in there. A lot of heavy hitters behind me, a lot in front of me. So just got one of them lucky passes.
Well, I was talking with you here before we done this interview, and I was asking how new the tractor was and being there wasn't any paint on it. And you said that tonight it's going to have to earn its paint here for if it ever does get painted.
Correct. Everybody likes it the way it is, but it's still got to earn the paint job. So.
Anybody want to thank here tonight that got you here to the winner's circle?
Yeah, I want to thank Wipeout Enterprises, Corsa Data Acquisitions, and Jay's Diesel Performance. My brother, that goes about everywhere with me, so couldn't do it without him.
All right. Well, congratulations on behalf of the Darke County Tractor Pullers, Great Darke County Fair. Congrats. We hope to see you back. Todd Cameron, your winner of our hot farm class here tonight with the Fuss and Fight International. Let's give him a nice round of applause, please.
So Chase Richardson's going to take your number 1 spot in the 2-wheel drive with a 368.05. Jesse Petro in the number 2 spot, and Kim Seening with a number 3 finish this afternoon or this evening. So we'll look for Chase Richardson in front of the grandstand to talk to Keith, finishing first place in our 2-wheel drive. Right. Zachary Egbert is our last one to run here, Keith. We got one more to finish. We could mess up the entire finish order with this pass. It didn't happen like he wanted it to. He was so proud of that coming off the line. He had a nice aim down the track. He was square. Zachary Egbert, Butkins, Ohio's Wild Ride.
Well, if you notice when he made his pass, Alan, he had a hole out. Number 7 cylinder was misfiring on the left bank, and that definitely cost him horsepower here tonight when you drop a cylinder like that. Then tough break for Zach Egbert here with the Wild Ride machine.
3:23.915 for him. A nice finish for Zach. But Chase Richardson's going to be the man to talk to Keith, front and center. 3:68.
So yes, we will need Chase Richardson and your vehicle down here in front of the grandstand on the concrete pad, please.
Our next two classes that we'll start with the Light Pro Stock. I don't know which one we'll start with. We've got 14 to run the Light Pro Stock in front of the grandstand, 14 in that particular class. As we move to the third class of the infield, it would be the Modifieds. The Mod class will be up next. They will be followed by the Pro Stock 5.0. So right now, we take care of Chase as far as a presentation. We get the wagon reweighted, and we have to reweight both of them down there. We make the change of Light Pro Stock to 8,500 pounds and the Modified to 7,500 pounds. So if you haven't had a chance to grab a bite to eat, now's the time to do so. We'll let them reweight the wagon, let Keith take care of all that he's going to do as far as presentations are concerned. We'll be back ready to go with our Light Pro Stocks and our Modifieds.
So again, we can have Chase Richardson along with your vehicle down here in front of the grandstand, please, for the winner's circle.
Well, we've got a little bit of a dilemma here, Keith. He's going to need a tow tractor to bring his vehicle. Do you want his vehicle? We have time. He doesn't have any help, so he's going to have somebody help him. If not, he can come talk to you. It's your call, Keith.
It's whatever he wants to do. I am flexible. So whatever's easiest for Chase Richardson, I will go with it.
All right. So he may be on his way to see you on foot. He's going to get somebody to help him. I'm hearing from Marvin. Marvin says he's going to find some help, and he will bring his vehicle with him. So very good. That gives us a chance to talk to him about that vehicle and how well it ran.
While we're waiting on the winner of that class to come over to see Keith, we might as well do some sponsors. Thanks again to Case International for a sponsor of the NTPA Tractor Pulling Association. Beck Seeds, Wicks Filters, Hot Shot Secrets, Enderly, Fuel Injection, Mack Trailer, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Cowtails, Midas, Simpico Lubrication, U.S. Army, AP1 Insurance, Thank you all for the sponsorship for the National Tractor Pulling Association. Appreciate it. Also, like to thank Full Pull Picks. You can get online and pick your tractor, and what you pick, they end up getting paid that night extra for that class. Go in there and check it out, Full Pull Picks. Thank you. Also, September 14th is the Enderley 37th Memorial Pull-Off in Urbana, Ohio. Please come out and check them out. All the national division winners will be there. And come on out and check it out. It's an excellent place to go see some great tractors. Some of them that's not here tonight will be there. So that's a good evening to go pulling. Also, NTPA Championship Bowling is Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. on RDF TV. You'll get to see all the NTPA polls and follow them on RDF TV. Darke County next poll will be September 2nd in Palestine. They will have the antiques and their regular classes there, the regular 8 classes. So it's September 2nd at Palestine, Ohio on Labor Day.
Well, Keith, he's on his way. I hear from the trackside that he has a tow vehicle in front of him, and he's on his way to see you. So Chase is coming. We'll get that taken care of. Congratulations. Gives us a chance to get everything set and ready to go, and I think we are as far as our 2 boats are concerned. I think Mark is ready to go. I think Joe is too. We've made the changes that we need to with our light pro stocks coming up grandstand side. And our modifieds coming up on the infield side. We have 7 of the mods to run and a total of 14 in the light pro stock. So we've got 1, 2, 3 classes yet to run. Following our mods in the infield side, we have the 5.0 pro stock. Chase is on his way around the corners. We ought to be able to see him in any minute.
Also, we'd like to thank Selective Farms for the good job they do at putting this track together. We started very early this morning. I've seen them out here yesterday digging this track up. They do an excellent job putting this track together. After we polled this afternoon's class, they went out, ripped it all up, dusted it up, and prepared it for tonight's session. So they do an excellent job. They do work for the NTPA all over. So if you see them, thank them. You see the red shirts out there, thank them for the good show they're putting on for you, and they really appreciate it. Thank you.
He's coming at you, Keith. He's coming at you. Out of the turn one, actually, it would be on the horse track.
Okay, Alan, we got our winner finally down here in front of the grandstand. Chase Richardson from Litchfield, Kentucky with a Suffering Insanity. Chase, I know you've been around this sport for a long time. You started out pulling two-wheel drive trucks. You've moved into mini rods. Now you're in the seat of Brian McDonald's Suffering Insanity truck. Your thoughts tonight on your run?
Well, sorry I was late. I'm not used to winning, so I went back to the trailer. But, yeah, this truck is a really exceptionally good truck. Brian McDonald and Brad Corporal, kind of the minds behind it, and we've kind of teamed up and had a fun summer so far. And great track here tonight, probably the best track we put on all year long. So shout out to everyone here at this event that puts on a great show, and to you fans for being here.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you here. And anybody else you want to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank my buddies Chad Mayhill and Jesse Petro. They always help me out a lot, but they helped me out tonight, particularly because they didn't really have any help here. So shout out to those guys tonight and all the time, both great friends. And they were going to make me push it myself back up here, but luckily I found a tow tractor. But no, shout out to both those guys, our team back home, my dad, everyone that helps us, Brian McDonald and Brad Corporal, Modern Machine, as I mentioned, Chuck Ford Superchargers. This is a pretty unique combination here, and it's we're still learning a lot, but we're having fun messing with it. And Chuck has really helped us elevate our pulling program, so shout out to everyone. And Bean, my buddy Bean's here in the back. I think he's getting the trailer ready. But, yeah, everyone, all the fans, everyone here, great pull. First time I pulled two-wheel drive here, so maybe I should come back.
Well, we certainly want to have you back here. And I said tonight when the two-wheel drive class started, I said this is going to be an excellent class or a track for the two-wheelers here tonight, and it certainly was. Well, Chase, on behalf of the Darke County Tractor Pullers and the great Darke County Fair, we sure congratulate you on your first place win here tonight.
Thanks, Keith. We'll be back.
All right. Chase Richardson there, your winner of your two-wheel drive truck class. Suffering Insanity. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Thank you, Keith. Congratulations, Chase. Job well done. First of our light pros, a class of 14. This will be Mr. Mike Palmer. Right here in the hometown with the Red Avenger Classic. First of two rides, as you're well aware. He has two campaigns throughout the summer, the Red Avenger Classic and the Red Avenger. He's on board as your test hook with the Classic. Watch Palmer run around the country over the years. Always a tough contender. Always somebody who is available to talk to. You got a problem, go talk to him. Now, if he's had a problem, you don't want to talk to him. Let him get his problem settled first. But Mike Palmer is always a tough contender. Has been. He picked up everything when his dad passed suddenly. I mean, you know, Mike's the one to take care of it, and it's going to happen. He has done that. I know he has done that, a lot of this, by himself, but also tough contender. He's your test hook here tonight on board the Red Avenger Classic. Mike Palmer. A lot more brake than he wanted to, and I think at about 250, he was on that left brake pretty hard. You could hear that motor start to pull down. Light Pro Stock, 540 cubic inches under the hood. Turbocharger, 5 inches in, 4.5 out. 8,500 pounds, the weight class, pulling on a 20-inch drawbar.
Well, this grandstand side definitely had a tendency tonight to want to pull you over to this right-hand side. And as you can see, Mike Palmer makes his pass here tonight, being a test hook. He'll get the option of taking it or turning it down, but he was definitely on that left brake hard to keep it in bounds, and it got underneath the Charger.
Mike says, I think I can do better. I think I want to drop. I just hope it's the right decision. We'll find out with the 327 and change. Yes, we've seen that vehicle run a lap down. It'll be interesting to see because his next pass will be 3 ahead of when he comes back with this one. So the Red Avenger's down toward the bottom of the class, and then he's going to turn around 2 vehicles later and take the Classic back out again. So we'll find out. Now let's move into the infield. A little different sound out of the modifieds. It's a turbine, of course. And when you think of turbines, you think of the Margies. Down in Ansonia. This is the jury, next generation. We reweighted the wagon. Modified, 7,500 pounds, 20-inch drawbar. If you can scale it, you can run it, is what it amounts to as far as the light modified region competition is concerned.
Well, Alan, we're starting off with a good tractor to set our sled here in our modified class. As the jury next generation, Ron Bargy II, comes in here tonight. Your current points leader in our Region 2 Southeast Circuit. And this tractor has definitely been on a tear all summer long. These tractors have been on a roll here this summer, as the jury next generation will be your test hook in our 7,500-pound modified class.
Didn't need the front wheels. He just picked them up and carried them with him. And the far end of the track, he just set it back down on the front wheels.
Well, that's just the way that tractor's been laying down the passes all summer long. And it comes down about 75 feet, and it hikes that front end up, and it trucks on down the track. Let's give you a nice round of applause. The jury next generation of the Bargy family.
369 and 54. Watch the replay on the scoreboard at the end of the track. Sounded good, looked good. 369.54. But did he pull the throttle back? Maybe. There's a lot of speculation going on. He's your test hook. So I think I'll keep it. 369.54. Yep, I'll keep it. In a class of 7, when you've got a 369 that you've just laid down and you know your competitors, yeah, well, maybe. We'll see what happens. Dave Armstrong out of Wilmington, Ohio.
an excellent pass there by David Armstrong with the Rowdy Red in our light pro stock class. And this track is just starting to come around here tonight with the sun going down, as we're going to have a awesome light pro class here, the way it looks.
Furthest distance we've had down that grandstand track tonight, Keith, a 360 with a 405. 360 with a 405. Rowdy Red, powerful run, and you're right. Picture perfect. Front end carried just exactly where he wanted to. Did not necessarily need a break. He may have tagged one a little bit, but it never seemed to faze him. 360 with a 405. So we're starting to see both these classes run the full length of the track that we have available for them. And there is some more out there. They could play with it another 15 or 20 feet, but we got much more than that. I think we would probably do something to reweight the wagon, but I'm not sure we're going to. I'm not hearing any traffic with that regard. Ken Miller, the corn and soybean special on the track right now. Ken's been fighting some demons off and on throughout the summer. Seen him run a couple of times. Did not perform like he wanted it to.
Here with the machine.
Not sure what the issue was. It didn't sound like all of them came up like he needed.
Well, Alan, he's definitely made significant gains from the last time I seen this tractor go down the track. If it actually came to life, he might have just been a little bit geared too tall for this track here tonight. He really never got up on top of the RPMs to try to pull the gear, and he got into that wheel hop, and that wheel hop is caused by not being able to turn the gear.
That's part of it. When the wheel bites, you get a jump forward, and then it bogs down again. And you're right. It didn't sound like the RPMs were there like he needed them. So I think he's got some issues he still needs to dial in and figure out. I was concerned he was going to get one of them that wasn't going to run. When he came off of the line, they were running. All of them sounded pretty good. So we'll see. Have a chance to talk to Ken some of these times and maybe pick his brain a little bit, see what he wants to do to make this happen. Evan Smoot, Eaton, Indiana's Barnyard Bandit. The right-hand side of that track is getting a lot of attention.
Well, I tell you what, Evan Smoot had his hands full with that John Deere as he come down this right-hand side with the front end high in the air. And we're definitely wearing out this right-hand side of the track down here to finish in.
$3.54 and a penny for Evan. $3.54 and an 0-1. I don't know. He was walking the brake, but it didn't seem to affect it that much. And all of a sudden, the things fell apart and stopped at $3.54.
Yeah, you can see there on the replay, if he had about one more weight up on the front, hold that front end down, it definitely would have helped him out on here on the big end, as he had his front end way high in the air, pretty much the entire length of the track.
I marvel every time I watch the track crew put a track back together. With the landscape rake that can move so much dirt so quickly that all they have to do is hit it with a scraper box and roll it and we're done. That piece of equipment was a vast improvement to all tractor pullers across the country. So, and a big thanks to everybody here, our track crew, maintenance crew doing a great job putting the track back together. I mean, the guys come out, they tear it up. Let's face it, they're hard on this track. But they can put it back together, competition shape. So, Evan Smoot with a 3.54 and an 0-1. Tom Schaefer will be up next on board the Boss. Out of Roanoke comes up the night train, and Mr. Lucas Heilman. 6th of September, we have the Thunder in the Park. Roanoke, Indiana, if you'd like to join us over there, that gets underway on Friday night. Lucas will be there probably, along with some of the rest of the locals from the Roanoke area. Tom Schaefer brings the Boss out. We're going to line them up side by side. I haven't seen a drag race but twice this year. Both tracks started at the same time. You don't like to do that because it drives the laser people nuts trying to figure out a way to get things measured. That's okay.
Well, Lucas Heilman driving Mike Shanaman's Night Train tractor. And if you know that Heilman name out of Rockford, Ohio, this is John Heilman's nephew, Dave Heilman's grandson. So we'll see what he can do.
A little too much brake.
Well, Lucas Heilman was definitely on the brake hard back there at about the 100-foot mark. It was taking him off to the left and had to bring it back around. That cost him a lot of distance here tonight.
.258 with a 9-1 to the right. 258 with a 9-1. He was walking the brake awfully hard. Kept it in bounds. Wonderful. All right, the Boss, Tom Schaefer. Well, he wasn't quite as far over to the right as I thought he was going to be. but he's still drifted quite a ways from his starting position onto the starting line. Tom Schaefer with the boss. $3.36 and 57 cents to the right. 3.36 and a 5.7 for Tom Schaefer. You don't hear this next one arriving onto the modified track because he works so hard with that little 4-cylinder engine to bring that turbine out. Don Dean comes out of Trafalgar, Indiana with the one called the Plumber's Nightmare. And that little motor has been on the front of this vehicle since it was built. It's a 4-cylinder Chevrolet motor that he brings it to the line with. He changed the plugs and changes the oil. He changes the plugs twice a year, but the oil he only changes every 2 or 3 years. I don't know. That's what he told me. But he brings that back and he'll line it up. He's the only vehicle out here that doesn't really need a whole lot of support. He doesn't need anybody to help him start. It starts by himself because he uses that 4-cylinder motor. When he gets hooked up and rolled up tight, then he will disengage the hydrostat drive and hook up the hydrostat starter. He doesn't have a starter. It's all done with that little 4-cylinder motor out there in front. And you just sit back and listen because it makes its own sound as it starts to spin that turbine. Turbine has to be spinning 80% of rated RPM before it will run on its own. So we got to spin that a long time with a 4-cylinder engine. Joe says he's ready as far as the sled is concerned. All right, Don. Yep, turn the dash light on. Now we got the dash light turned on. And now listen, if you can hear it, it may, yep, you can hear it. It's starting to work. Just spin that turbine up. And it just works the daylights out of that little 4-cylinder engine. On a cold night, the hydraulic oil gets pretty stiff, you know.
I always think of Don Dean as Mr. Gadget. He likes to tinker a lot.
Exactly. He has to be turning about between 75 and 80%, which is roughly 70,000 RPM. That little 4-cylinder engine's working awful hard to spin it that far. At that point in time, he can turn the fuel on, and it will self-run. It will run. You can hear it running now. And he can use cross-feed to get it started on the second time. But he may leave the 4-cylinder. Who knows? You don't ask Don questions. You just say, how does it work? And then sit back and he'll tell you.
Well, Don Dean's been at this game a long time with these turbines. And
yes.
He didn't get out till about midsummer here, back at the end of July. He was at Fort Recovery and had a lot of problems with the gearbox. And he was down in the polls in Florida this winter. And the gearbox in this tractor is custom built by himself. And it took a while to get the parts to get the gearbox back together, but he's made his way out here this summer, and we'll see what he can do with the Plumber's Nightmare. So as he sits there and gets these engines wound up, there is no transmission. It's direct drive straight to the rear end. And there is a driveline brake held on by a line lock. And when he gets things wound up where he lets it go, and he'll let that line lock off. And here we go.
Somehow he makes that work. A beautiful pass for Mr. Don Dane out of Trafalgar, Indiana, with a plumber's nightmare. Now, he'll start that little four-cylinder engine, and he'll pull away, and he'll take it back to the pit. .319 and 33, 319 and a 33 to the right, which puts him in second place right now behind Ron Margie. Grandstand side we go. The International 1066 out of Hoopston, Illinois, called simply the 1972 International 1066. Justin Jeffries in the driver's seat of this one. Beautiful, beautiful tractor. Saw this one run at the Illinois State Fair last week. He was in a class by himself as far as the condition of this vehicle is concerned. I mean, it looks showroom fresh. It really does. Justin Jeffries out of Hoopston, Illinois, with a 1206. He came a little left of center. You notice that, Keith? He's on this side of the track a little bit.
I think if I was pulling here in this class tonight, the track has a tendency to slope off to the right-hand side. So if you spot yourself up about the center of the track and angle to this corner, as long as you can keep it in bounds, I think that's the spot to be. That was pretty much our first run down the track and left the center here tonight.
335 and 78 cents to the right. 335 and a 7.8 for Justin. Next up in the mod class will be Nick Margie with the Judge Next Generation. Out of the darkness he comes, making his way out onto the track right now. Jason Laut, New Madison, Ohio, with a cashed out. Due up next to Light Pro on the grandstand side. Just down the road, Nansonia, Nick Margie with the Judge Next Generation. Ron sits on top with the Jury Next Generation with a 369 pass. Starter on the outboard side. They don't have a starter on. Why we have the support vehicle beside. Electric starter in the back of the Jeep. Green on green. Nick Bargy, the judge. Next Generation. I think we can say that was a successful run.
Well, I tell you what, that young man has not been down the track too many times, and he done a heck of a job pedaling that tractor back there at about the 100-foot mark as it was trying to take him to the left side. I'm sure he was on the brake hard, and he actually pulled back on that throttle just for a split second to try to help correct it. And definitely a good pass laid down by the judge.
$358.99, 358 at a 9.9. Gives him a number 2 spot right now, right behind Ron. So the two of them right there close back to back, which you would kind of expect because there's a lot of camaraderie goes along in the engine building when you're in a turbine business. So, job well done. The last time I talked to the Bargies, and it's been, I don't remember exactly how long ago, they had an input shaft that they twisted in 2. They said, we can't fix it here. We've got to take it home to do it. Evidently they've got things figured out and working. So good to see them back on top. 358 with a 9.9 for Nick.
Oh, you can see there in the replay, he was over on this left side, and it was coming left hard right there in the beginning, but he done an excellent job of pedaling that tractor to help correct it back early. Let's give Nick Bargy and the judge, Next Generation, a round of applause.
I thought maybe he was at a threshing show and he was doing a spark show like they do with the steam engine. A lot of sparks out of that right-hand power plant. Jason Loucks cashed out of New Madison, Ohio. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Never sounds good when it stutters and stammers and quits. $316 and 6 cents to the right. 316 and a 0.6 for Jason. Zach Howell will be up next. Mod side, Wayne Kreider comes out of Cherubusco with a double dose +1. Also has been dealing with his own set of issues this summer, and he's not real sure why. So I'm running Arcola. It was not a good performance on the double dose that night, and he said, I've got to figure out what the issues are. I saw him this afternoon. He fingers crossed. He said, I think. I said, okay, we'll see. Wayne Kreider due up next, the double dose +1.
Well, Wayne Kreider making his way out to the track. Wayne's been pulling this tractor for a number of years. The double dose +1. There's 3 Chevy engines. Blown alcohol here. We got 1 motor sitting out in the front, 2 sitting out forward with 1 common gearbox, bringing everything back to the rear end. And Wayne been out on the summer circuit here quite a bit this year with this tractor and been doing a very good job with the machine.
Grandstand side, we'll see a little variety as we'll bring a blue one out on the track. But it's green on the infield side for Wayne Kreider. They all stayed together and they all ran. That has to be a successful pass for Wayne Kreider. Got it figured out. Something, all you got to do is get a little more speed out of it. .297.42. 297 with a 4.2. Excellent pass. Everything stayed together. Wayne may be on to something. One more to go in the mod class. Mark Boyer out of Converse, Indiana. Mr. Twister. But as I promised you, grandstand side, a little color in the class. That's a New Holland 80-20 of Mr. Zach Howell out of Greentown, Indiana. Little bit of a finesse and said, I think I need to put the wheels back down so that they'll just touch the ground and let me come back a little bit. Zach Howell out of Greentown with that New Holland 80-20.
Well, Zach Howell making an excellent pass with the New Holland, one of the few New Hollands in our light pro stock class here tonight, or anywhere across the country for that matter, and lays down an excellent pass here tonight.
.346 and 22 moves him into the number 3 spot, I believe. 346 and a 2-2 for Zach. Dave Armstrong still sits on top of the 360 and a 405. Number 2, Evan Smoot, was right behind him. Next pass down the track with a 350-401. Then we've had trouble breaking 340. And all of a sudden, Zach says 346 and 22. Thank you very much. The last of our modifieds is Mark Boyer out of Converse. 369. Ron Bargee out in front. 358. Nick Bargee in number 2. The only ones over 300 feet.
All right, it's our next and final modified tractor comes out here tonight, Mr. Twister, Mark Boyer, and he teams up with Scott Tedder on the machine. The tractor has not been out much at all this summer until this past weekend up at National Tractor Pulling Championships in Bowling Green, where he had pulled in the 7,500-pound mod class. But he comes in here tonight, and definitely one to watch here tonight. If there's any tractor tonight that's going to take it away from the jury, it'll be the Mr. Twister, Mark Boyer.
Well, anything over 300 will put him in third place. Anything over 359 will put him in second place. Last of the mods.
This tractor will normally carry 4 engines. And as you can see out on the track, we've got 2 side by side up the front and 1 on the left-hand corner, the 4th engine removed for this class here tonight, as we can only allow 3 Hemis with 871s or 2 Hemis with 1471s. That is the rule in our mod class here tonight. But we've got 3 Hemis here with 871 blowers for Mr. Twister.
Takes his time, making sure that he's hooked up like he needs to be. Everybody checking things out to make sure that the power is already running. Last check from the driver's standpoint. Chain is hooked. The green flag is ready to come as soon as the top end of the racetrack is clear. Green on the sled, green on green. Mark Boyer, your last to modified. Well, I told you what it was going to take to be in the placing.
Well, I'm not going to predict we're going to split that distance between the two, but we're going to find out here momentarily. But that was an excellent pass. There wasn't a darn thing you could change with that run right there. He come out, picked the front end up just right, and trucked on down through there. We'll get that distance here in a moment.
.355 and 18. He didn't quite get into the top 2, but he made number 3. Ron Bargy first, Nick Bargy second, Mark Boyer third.
Let's give the whole modified tractor class a nice round of applause. As we wind out our mod class here tonight, we'll need Ron Bargy the second with the jury down here in front of the grandstand, please.
Our top 4 all over 300 feet. Ron at 369, Nick at 358, Mark at 355, Don Dean at 319. So congratulations, job well done. Great mod class. I agree with you, Keith. Probably one of the best mod classes we've seen in a long time. Grandstand side we go. Light Pro Stocks continuing. Jason Laux. Terminal Velocity, his second ride of the evening. He cashed out to a 3:16.06. We'll see what he can do with Terminal Velocity out of New Madison, Ohio. He's back again right now. Class of 14 of our Light Pro Stocks. So we're at the halfway point. We're ready to start our 5.0 class here directly. Pro Stock, 10,000 pounds. 5.0 meaning size of turbocharger.
Well, Jason Laux come over here in the grandstand side. He was your winner at Fort Recovery on Saturday night with this machine. And definitely a good running John Deere. And the Laux family have been longtime pullers off and on over the years. And the dad, Jerry, longtime puller years ago. And Jason in the seat here tonight, the Terminal Velocity John Deere.
Playing with a little different part of the track as they've started to move to the left-hand side. The white line is 2-3 feet from the side of the sled, but they moved over a little bit to the center of the track. 337 and 9 cents to the right. 337 with a 0.9 for Jason. 337.09.
So again, we need Ron Bargy and your machine down here in front of the grandstand for the winner's interview, please. You make your way down here in front of the grandstand.
Again, I want to say a big thanks to all of the guys out here on the track. Rollers, scrapers, landscape levelers, putting this track back. There's a talent to it, guys. You really don't think about it, but watch them. There's a ballet as these guys come down through here, moving the dirt back where it needs to be, rolling it back and ready to go for competition. Thank you. We appreciate it, guys. Also appreciate all the people that donate the equipment to bring it down here because it takes a lot. You don't realize how many tractors you need, whether it's tractors pulling rollers, scrapers, or whatever, or vehicles in the infield as far as transport vehicles to move things around. Thank you to everybody that brings a vehicle here to the Great Darke County Fair. Grandstand side, Casey Givers. The New Bremen, Ohio with Rumor Has It. Still kind of trying to break it in as he's got only a couple of good solid passes on it. Maybe that's the way to word it. So we'll find out. Still sounds good. Spool it up. Gets up and starts to one wheel, and you think this is not going to go well. However, pulls it back down just like he needed to. Job well done. .322 with a 335 to the right. 322, 335. 5-0 Pro Stock. First man on the line. He will be your test hook, obviously. Mr. Mark Lawyer comes out of Newcastle with the New Era.
Well, as Mark Lawyer makes his way out on the track here, this is a brand new tractor as of about a month ago. As he got this machine going back about the end of, toward the latter part of July. And Mark Lawyer, definitely a true competitor. He drives hard to win. He wants to win, and he will work as hard as he can to make it happen. And then you'll see this tractor make its pass down the track here tonight.
We'll let Mark run, and then we'll let you make your presentation. How's that sound? Test hook in the class of 5-0. 10,000 pound class of 6 to run in our 5-0s. I'm going to guess they'll roll him right back. A little loaded up, tried to clear his throat a little bit. It didn't sound exactly right, so we'll roll him back. But we've got a lot of people looking around, making sure things are correct. Mark is still in the seat right now. Everybody seeming to think that, yeah, well, let's look again. Want to make sure before we roll him back that everything is there. The red light is on the sled for flagman purposes. Now we shut it off, so we're a little more seriously involved in this than I was anticipating. We do need a tow tractor on to the small end of the track on the infield side, please. We do need a tow tractor.
All right, we're going to get this in down here, Alan. As soon as we get some final pictures done here. All right, I've got the winner of our 7,500-pound modified class, Ron Bargy II, and the jury. And I believe this is 2 years in a row for this tractor here at the Darke County Fair. Your thoughts tonight on your run?
Well, you are correct, about 2 years in a row. And that's a special accomplishment to do that at home. And at first, I want to give all glory to God. Everything he does and provides for our family and to be able to do this. And we love the fans. Thank you, fans. And we're just so blessed to have so many good sponsors. We love the sport. You know, Dad's in the Hall of Fame. He's pulled for almost 60 years. He's 83 years old now. He's here tonight. We'll dedicate this win to him and the judge pulling team, and we hope we can do this for many years to come. Nick did a heck of a job driving. He's the third-generation driver now. Us boys are the second, hence the name Next Generation. And just can't thank my wife and family enough, my brothers, the time we spend. People don't know the hours we've put in the shop to make these turbines run like they run. So,
well, definitely show here tonight with both tractors laying down excellent passage. So tonight they go first and second here at your hometown fair. We'll finish up here after this light pro stock runs.
Grandstand side, Jordan Stroud, Never Enough, out of Midland, Ohio. It pulled down, and he said, no. I said, never enough. And he pulled it right back out on down the track. Nicely done. Nicely done. Jordan Stroud out of Midland, Ohio.
Well, we'll finish up down here with this interview, but like you said, your dad's pulled forever. And, of course, I grew up with this as well as you did. And it's definitely an honor to be associated with you and your family. And definitely a good win here tonight.
Yep, thank you, Keith. And what a heck of a track built by the Selecting family and all the other crew members. I'll just say, people ask me what's it like to drive. Tonight was like strap yourself to a rocket. That's what it felt like.
All right. Your winner tonight in the 7,500-pound mod class, Ron Bargy II and the jury. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
.356.63 for Jordan Stroud puts him in the number 2 spot. Number 2, 356.63. When things start to spin that free, that quick, that far down the track, there's something let go. Sean Work out of Stockport, Ohio with a full rut. Nice pass. He was not your test hook, as Mark Lawyer was the test hook at 8.2 and cannot return because of a broken oil pump.
Well, this tractor has shown work. This is a brand new tractor for this season, and not very many passes made on this machine, but looks like we've got some trouble down here in the drivetrain. As you could hear the engine go to neutral there as it really shot the RPMs up down here at the other end of his run.
321.38 for him, 321 for him. Drew Parkinson will be up, Martin Quigley, Chris Kane, and Hayden Arnold. Grandstand side, we're seeing a look for Mark Gettinger, Mike Palmer, Bob Campbell, Dennis Goodman, and Mike Palmer again. That will finish our light pro stock class.
Well, as Mark Gettinger makes his way out to the track here, backing in the sled from Cambridge City, Indiana with the equalizer. And, of course, the Gettinger name, long time in the sport of pulling. And Mark Gettinger goes way back to pulling an ACD21 just like this one. And it was known as the equalizer, and it was a diesel super stock back in the day. And we're going here tonight in our light pro stock. The Alice Chalmers D21.
Five vehicles left in either class, grandstand or infield. We have five. It wants to awfully badly. Now, oh, darn. It wanted to in the worst way. It didn't sound right on the line, and you heard it backfire once. And when you're dealing with a light pro like that, you go, okay. Recorded distance of 122.85, but we're pulling him back. I'm going to guess we're going to look at a second opportunity for him, which is entirely possible because he was out of the throttle before he crossed the 100-foot mark. It was still rolling, belching a lot of white, but he was out of the throttle trying to figure out what correction he needed to make it work. He kept trying to feather the throttle and get in it. You could hear it. It just wasn't responding like he wanted it to. So Mark's going to get a second opportunity. Now, this will have to go. If it doesn't, he's stuck with a 122.85. Drew Parkinson on the infield, backing in out of Granville, Ohio, with the last straw. So let's go back to grandstand side and see what Mark Gettinger can do. Well, that was not what he had planned for the evening. This will be his recorded distance. He gets his second opportunity. .765 for Mark. Something not spooling up like it needs to. Not real sure how I can describe what I think is wrong with it, Keith. What are you hearing from over there? What does it sound like as far as the Charger's concerned? Drew Parkinson has the green on the sled on this side, the last straw out of Granville, Ohio. He's green on green.
Well, this tractor, Drew Parkinson, coming in here with this John Deere, known as the last straw. This is a good running John Deere. And we'll see what he can do here tonight. Number 3 hook in our light pro or 5.0 Pro Stock class. Class of 6.
There's 9 blocks in the box that's moving forward. 18,000 pounds moving forward on Joe Singer's sled. .316, 665, 316, 665 to the right for Drew Parkinson. 1, 2, 3 left to go in the 5.0 class.
He's got a fire! There's a fire!
Making sure that we get everything covered on the grandstand track. Martin Quigley moves in to the 5.0 class. He's moved over a little bit to the right of the center of the starting position out of Martinsville, Ohio, with the bad decisions. Chris Kane will follow, and Hayden Arnold will be out there. I'm hearing rumblings on the radio of an exhibition pass that will be done here in a little bit as well. Not real sure. I'll give you more information on that as I get it. But it's coming through on the radio as they're talking radio traffic to be able to get somebody else out here on the track as an exhibition to see if we can figure out things that are going wrong, which is the only way you can do this. And this is the part of the show that a lot of times you get and didn't realize you didn't have to pay for, because when you have a vehicle that is causing problems, is causing you fits, and there's no place else to try and test it. If you have a competition like this, the sled is here, it is loaded correctly, you have the officials, they can watch what's going on. This is a test opportunity for you. It works, it has been approved, and it has been done so many times. A lot of times you'll see 2, sometimes as many as 5 run exhibition passes after the show is over, because it is something that needs to be done. There's no place to test a tractor pull vehicle around the country other than tie it to a sled and drag it down a track. Okay, grandstand side we go to Mike Palmer. This is the Red Avenger. This is the second ride of his. He will be back with his first one. Remember, he turned down the pass with the Classic. This is the Avenger itself out of Greenville. Campaigns 2 of these vehicles. He's now green on green. So, Mike, see what you can do.
Well, Well, this is your hometown boy right here, Mike Palmer, right here in Greenville with the Red Avenger. Let's see if he can do it done here tonight.
That's what he wants to do.
How about that, Red Avenger fans? Let's give him a nice round of applause. An excellent pass here. But we'll get his distance here in a moment.
And there is your new leader. Right there with a 362, 2 1/4. 362, 225, Mike Palmer.
Well, he definitely had a lot of ground speed when he come by me to get that number 1 spot here so far in this light pro stock class with just a couple more left to go. And he takes over that number 1 spot by 2 feet.
Martin Quigley out of Martinsville, Ohio, with one called Bad Decisions, more or less center on the infield track. We've seen him kind of play around with this, not as much as the other side, but here's somebody moving a little bit to right, see if he can make it work. Martin Quigley, the Bad Decision. Martinsville, Ohio, spools it up. He's chasing 321 that Sean Work laid down. The old 1070 case sounded good off of the line and lays down a nice pass.
Well, it was definitely working that case out here tonight. As you could tell, it really was pulling the RPMs of that engine down. But that's a good running case 1070 there, Marty Quigley. And that's a brand new tractor here as in the past year here. And we're definitely making a lot of headway with this new machine here.
And that is your new first place on this side right now. Oh, the 321, 895. Sean Work at a 321, 38. So in a game of inches, we are playing it tonight, Keith. No question in my mind that it's going to take a lot of horse to make it work down here. Two left to run in the 5-0. Chris Kane, Hayden Arnold. $321.89 leads the class right now. We have 3 left to run in the light pros. One of them backing in right now. That is Mr. Bob Campbell, the Green Gangster out of Rossburg, Ohio. Dennis Goodman, Big Sexy, is left, along with Mike Palmer's Classic. So that'll wrap up the class on the grandstand side as well. If somebody has lost a set of black headphones, ear protectors rather, they were found out here on the ground, kind of in the general area of the tower. So if you're missing a pair, I'm not sure there's any way to identify them other than they're black. Let me know. I've got them up here. Bob Campbell, right of center, a long ways right of center. Not sure why anybody's over there given the problems on the big end of the track, but we'll see here in a minute.
Well, it's Bob Campbell, Alan, so we're going to try anything we
Good
can.
point.
But Bob Campbell, longtime puller in this light pro stock class, let's see what he can do.
He needed that break at 300, and that took the momentum away from him, I think, Keith.
Well, these front end come up real high back here at about the 150-foot mark, and it almost tagged the wheelie bars and unloaded the rear tires on him, but still a respectable pass here for Bob Campbell with the Green Gangster.
.334.89, 334.89 for Bob Campbell with 2 left to go. Chris Kane, New Palestine, the Aces Wild. Saw him run Illinois State Fair last week as well. Everything checks out. Green is on the sled. Steve looks down the track, finds Wayne and says, okay, what do you think? Green on green. Let's see what happens. Chris Kane. Oh, you could hear it kind of fall off of the Charger right there at the very end of, say, 300 feet, 302, and it's all done.
Well, you know, this tractor of Chris Kane's was up in the big pro stock class for many years, and last year we come back down to the 5.0 pro stock here in our regional national circuit, and definitely not the pass that probably Chris wanted here tonight, as we got underneath the turbocharger on this track out here, and the track is in excellent shape here tonight.
310, 235 for Chris. 1 left to go in the 5.0 class. Infield side, that's Hayden Arnold. Wrapped up with a vengeance out of Hagerstown. 2 left to go with grandstand side. Dennis Goodman and Mike Palmer with the Classic. Calls this one simply the Big Sexy. The Big Sexy. Dennis Goodman out of Genoa, Ohio. Massey Ferguson. And Red Avenger will also be up.
Well, this Massey Ferguson here of Dennis Goodman with the V8 Perkins for power in this machine. And we'll see what he can do. This is generally a good running tractor of this Massey Ferguson, known as Big Sexy. So we'll see what he can do.
Those of you on the infield side can see how hot everything runs. Everything warms right up and it glows red as he comes down the track. Yeah, it's warm. .333, 375 for Dennis. 333, 375. Mike Palmer yet to go. So Mike Palmer yet to run on the grandstand side, and I've gotten more information on our exhibition class. It will be a light super that we'll see making an exhibition pass over there. Colin Reynolds on board as the driver. Issues that he wants to address, and this is like we said, this is the place to do it. You've got everything in place, everything hooked up and ready to go. He will run on the grandstand side as we get things finished up. One more to run on the grandstand side. That is on Mike Palmer. 362, 225. The Red Avenger is in first. And we'll see what Mike could do with the Classic.
Well, as we bring out our last 5.0 Pro Stock on the infield side, we're rounding out the night in this class with one of the best in our 5.0 Pro Stock, and that's Hayden Arnold out of Hagerstown, wrapped up with a vengeance. And your current points leader in our on our 5.0 Pro Stock class here in our Region 2 circuit. And this is the grandson of Mark Lawyer, who you saw out here earlier this evening. Had trouble with the machine the very first hook in our class with the new era machine. But this machine here, the wrapped up of Hayden Arnold. Let's see what he can do here.
One of the hardest hole shots we've seen all night as Hayden came off of that, just almost sidestepped that clutch to come out. Wrapped up with a vengeance, and that is Hayden Arnold, the last of our 5.0s to run. .313, 305, good enough for a number 4 spot. First place in the 5.0s goes to Martin Quigley. Second to Sean Work. Third to Drew Parkinson. 4, we just saw Hayden Arnold, Chris Kane, and finishing in number 5. So we need Martin Quigley over to see Mr. Keith Horst in front of the grandstand.
So yes, again, we can have Marty Quigley over here in front of the grandstand with your tractor, please. Come on down.
Oh, Classic kind of comes to a screeching halt. Almost where he was before. Just very, very close to where he was before he turned it down. .318.91 for Mike. All right. Mike Palmer with a 362, 225, finishing first. Second place goes to Dave Armstrong, 360, 405. Number 3 will be Jordan Stroud with a 356.63. Number 4, Evan Smoot with a 350, 401. number 5, Zach Howell with a 3:46.22. So congratulations, Mr. Palmer, winning the hometown here with the Red Avenger, 3:62.225. His second pass with the second one at 3:18.91.
So we can have Mike Palmer and the Red Avenger and your tractor down here in front of the grandstand as well. Marty Quigley also in front of the grandstand with your tractor, if you can, please. Marty Quigley and Mike Palmer down here in front of the front and center.
People are starting to make their way for the exit. We understand you want to get out, but enjoy the fair. There's a lot of fair out there to enjoy. We have a light super stock we're going to run here in a minute. We are making that preparation as we speak on the grandstand side. Colin Reynolds with the Digging Deer wants to get out here and see if he can get things figured out. Want to say a big thank you to all of our track crew out here doing a great job tonight. We do appreciate each and every one of what they do, and a big thanks to all of our sponsors across the board. O'Reilly Auto Parts, Mack Trailer, Hot Shot Secrets, Beck's Hybrid, been on board this year all the way around. Mack Trailer, Wix Filters, if you need something filtered, we get a Wix filter to do it. Don't forget the Enderley Pull-Off, second Saturday of June. This comes up to the 17th. We'll see you in Champaign County, Urbana, Ohio. Thanks to Senpico Lubricants. They've been in business a long, long time. Mitas Tires, they don't get any better all the way around. And thanks to Max Trailer. Max Trailer has what you need. If they don't, they may well build one for you. Okay, well, let's go back grandstand side. Light super stock. See what's happening here. We'll see what we can make it work. See what the deal is. Why did we need to come out and test this? Well, where else are you going to do it? You can't go tie it onto a tree in a pasture. It doesn't do any good. You've got to have a sled that's weighted. Colin Reynolds, Light Super. There are problems with the turbocharger someplace in there. I think that he'll need to